Okay, so today's vlog I will be going into all things prep. I don't think I've done a vlog like this before. I'll have to check, but I believe I haven't done this sort of like structured vlog before. So I have notes with me, so I've written down some notes that I believe are really important when it comes to preparing for a show or even choosing your show. And that kind of leads me on to the first subject I will discuss, and that is the show right for you? Have you done your research and have you done your background sort of checks on the actual federation itself? A real good prime example of that is the difference between Pure Elite, which is a fitness modelling show, to PCA, which is a bodybuilding show. Now, I've competed in both. They are completely different shows. Okay, completely different shows. One's a bodybuilding show and one's a fitness modelling show. The difference in between there really is the bodybuilding federation is just purely on your body, and how you present it and the symmetry, and it doesn't take into consideration the way you look, facial wise. It's purely bodybuilding. Okay. Then you have the fitness modelling side, which also it obviously takes into account symmetry, muscular development, but it takes into account your marketability. So fitness modelling is, can I see your face on the front of the magazine? Can I see your body on the front of the magazine? It also takes into consideration like your bikini, your hair, your makeup. You know, they're completely different federations. And even with like Pure Elite as a fitness modelling federation, their criteria might be slightly different to Miami Pro, and again WBFF. So you need to do your research into the federation, maybe look on their Instagram, their website, look at their current sort of like world champions, UK champions in the category that you want to go for. I know for some of you, you may still be like figuring out where you sit category wise in a certain federation, but this will give you a guide on where your physique looks like it's going to fit into, if that makes sense. We'll discuss this further on in the vlog, but just a starting point, make sure the federation or show suits you, which is really important. Like probably the top of the list of getting ready for a show for me. So number 2, this one is just as important, maybe even more important than what I just discussed. Why are you doing it? This why is what's going to keep you motivated. Ask yourself this right now. I want you to just, I don't know, go onto your notes section of your phone and write down 3 reasons why you're wanting to compete in a show. Why are these reasons? Why are you doing it? These reasons are going to get you through the next however long your prep is for this show, and you need a reason. You need a reason that's going to wait. It's going to get you up in the morning. It's going to get you in for that workout that you don't want to do. It's going to get you away from that donut that you want to eat. It's going to be your driving power for however many weeks you're prepping for, and this is something you need to ask early on in your journey. There will be days where you question yourself, where you go, why am I doing this to myself, and I feel like shit, I want to back out. But go back to the original reason why you decided to do a show, and it will, I promise you, it will keep you motivated and it will keep you going. So that's a really important factor when it comes to competing. You know, you need to find your why and why you are doing it. If you're doing it for anyone else or social media, you won't last. I'm just going to say that now. You won't last. You just won't be a joyful experience, which prep can be. I say that coming out of it where at times it was hard, but it should be a fun experience, learning and growing and achieving something at the end. That's what prep should be. Number 3, prep doesn't have a time. It's not 12 weeks, it's not 14 weeks, it's not 16 weeks, it's not 20 weeks, it's not 22 weeks. it depends on you as an individual. So, you know, I would allow, if you were going for your first show, then allow yourself enough time to get ready for it without rushing and crash dieting and making yourself feel like shit. But don't have a set amount of weeks to get ready for this show going into it. Okay, you'll obviously have a time, you'll always have a date, and just work your way to that date. It's better to be ready before the show than rushing at the end. I can tell you that it's definitely worth being ready for the show a lot earlier. I always try and get ready for a show 2 weeks away from the show date, and then I kind of cruise through into the end. But there's no set limit on what a prep should be. You know, people sell packages, 16-week prep, fucking 18-week prep. It all depends on the individual. It depends on where you are right now, like physique wise. So many different factors come into it. So I feel like that tip's also important, but I feel like all these tips are important, so I'm going to say that after every fucking sentence. So tip number 4 kind of links into the first like point that I made, is the show right for you, and like fitting in between categories. So if you feel like you sit between, I don't know, bikini and fitness model, then enter both. You know, it's extra stage time, so it's extra experience, but then you can also get some vital feedback from that, and you get your stage photos back as well, which you can analyze yourself. So don't be like, oh my god, I have to go for this category and this one category only. You can always enter 2 or 3 categories, and then the next time round you can focus on one that you really want to do well in. That's a good aim to go for. You obviously have a category in mind that you want to go for naturally, so go with your gut instinct. So if you really want to go for fitness model, then work towards fitness model, but enter bikini just in case, and then you can develop from there. So yeah, it's okay to enter more than 2 to 3 categories. I know that some shows don't allow that, and that's where you have to go back to it. Is this federation right for me? And there's nothing stopping you from just entering maybe 3 weeks out from the show, whenever the closing date is, because you'll have more of an idea of where you sit physique wise. So there's different ways you can do it, but it's completely fine. I know Pure Elite allow you to compete in more than 1 category, so you know, don't fret about that, don't stress about that. Tip number 5, which is a very important one again. I'm just like a broken record. Get a prep coach. Get a coach, or have someone that you don't see very often that you can check in with. Now I know Pure Elite have a list of recommended prep coaches that they recommend and that they know are safe and that they know they're good prep coaches. But what I will say to you is, just because the prep coach has good athletes or a good team of athletes doesn't mean they're a good prep coach. And it doesn't mean they have your health first. So really be careful on when you're picking someone to coach you for a show, and don't be afraid to ask why. Like, why have I got this on my plan, or why is this being changed to this? You're paying for a service, but you also want to learn along the way. You don't just want to be chucked a training program and chucked a diet plan and then just do it. Like, you want to be able to get something from that service. And like, when I'm with my online clients, I will always call them up and we'll have a chat, and I'll say, you know, these are the changes I've made because of this, and then they know why I've made these. Then they know why I've made these changes and what will benefit from making these changes, or not making any changes at all. Sometimes you don't need to make changes. It's almost like, why break something that's not broken? And join the majority of my prep. So I was like prepped almost by Connor, and I also helped out like doing it myself as well. Which I would, if I was going to go for a show again, I would have a prep coach externally from us, because it kind of takes away that whole relationship and just changes it to coaching. But I would have the same diet for at least 4 to 6 weeks before I needed to make any changes. But everyone is different. So, you know, you just need to ask why. I recommend you ask why. You know, you're paying for a service, so if that coach can't give you the answers, then I'd be worried, because I'd be like, well, if you're telling her to do fucking 6 hours of cardio a day, what's the reasoning behind it? And if they can't give you a good answer on why, then, I mean, have they got your health at the forefront of their mind when they're writing these programs for you? Just a food for thought there. But that one's definitely a real big tip there. Make sure you get the right eyes on you and you get the right guidance. Tip number 6 is posing. Practice, and then practice even more. It needs to become second nature to you. You need to be able to do your T-walk, do your posing, sort of mandatory poses and moving around in your sleep, okay? Like, I can't drill it into you anymore. When I was doing my figure routines, I would practice and practice more. Like, I would practice so much I was sick of hearing the song that I actually loved. But that's how it should be. If you're doing bikini, if you're doing fitness modelling, if you're doing Mums That Lift, if you're doing tattooed muscle, put on some sassy music. You guys, put some manly matching music on. Put some sassy music on, like make a playlist for yourself, get in your high heels and just strut your stuff. The first real hurdle that I faced was walking in high heels. Like, I'm like Bambi on ice in high heels. As soon as you get that nailed, after a couple weeks of just continuously wearing your high heels, then start moving your body. And it may well be that you need a posing coach just to look over you. They can see what poses work best for your physique, and it's something that you will fall in love with. At first it's like the enemy, you hate it, you hate doing it, but it starts becoming something fun. And I used to absolutely love doing my figure routines on stage. It was like the best feeling in the world. So learn to love it, and I would recommend between 4 and 6 weeks out from your show date, you should be posing at least half an hour a day, at least. And it doesn't have to be in a studio in front of a mirror. I actually tend to try and stay away from mirrors for the last 4 weeks, especially doing my figure routines. And try and do it in front of people as well, people that you know, because it feels very intimidating, and I'm like a nervous wreck when I do it in front of people that I know. I would rather do it in front of people that I don't know. So when you do get to show day, it's a lot easier being up on that stage, and it does kind of dampen them nerves. Number 7 is, you've done all this hard work, you've worked your ass off in the gym, you've stuck to your diet, you've done your cardio, you've done your posing. Don't let your tan and your makeup let you down. So always go with the recommended tanners for the show. And if you're like me and pretty useless at makeup and hair, book in with a hair and makeup stylist as well for the day. Take that stress away from yourself. There's nothing worse than getting yourself in a falafel. Falafel? No point in getting yourself in a fuss over not an eyelash sticking on. You just don't need that on show day. Trust me, you just do not need that stress. So make sure you book in with someone, and make sure in the lead up of the show with the tan, you read the email, they send you the guidelines and checklists of what you need to do before coming to see them, and make sure you exfoliate your skin within an inch of its life at least 2 weeks leading up to the show to make sure that tan sits nicely on your skin. But yeah, don't get yourself in a falafel. I fancy a falafel now, actually. And number 8, believe in yourself. Believe in yourself that you can step up on that stage in a bikini or in some trunks, and you can show that audience your hard work, your dedication, and you can achieve your goal. Just stepping up on that stage. And what I will say is there will be people along the way that will have something to say about it. There will be people that criticise you for what you're doing. You may lose friends doing it. This is purely because they won't like to see you stepping outside of your comfort zone and achieving goals. They will feel uncomfortable with it, and that's because they feel uncomfortable with their own lives. And as harsh as it sounds, but you don't need them people in your life. You know, I've lost friends along the way. At the time, I was sad, you know, I felt like I had done something wrong. But then I soon realised I outgrew these people, and I no longer needed them in my inner circle of people that I surround myself with. And, you know, through life this happens, and don't be disheartened by it, and try not to listen to people's negative comments and their general negative energy around you when you're going through this process. And it is a process. It's a process that will take you on some wild twists and turns along the way. It's not an easy ride preparing for a show. There will be times where you doubt yourself, that you don't think you're worthy of doing it. I remember when I first entered my show, like even just entering it, I just bawled my eyes out crying. I was so petrified, like, what have I done? Like, I remember questioning myself, just like, what have I just done? And that's where you need to be in life. You need to do stuff that scares you, enable to grow. So yeah, shut the self-doubt out, shut the negative people out, and enjoy the process. Just enjoy the process, guys. And before my battery dies, I'm gonna round that up now. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you real soon.